Fellow Ghanaians, good morning. So 15 of our compatriots are gone. Were swept under the cold waters of the Volta Lake. 11 of them were children, one as young as 2 years old. 15 lives ended not by war, not by plague, but by this country's persistent negligence. 15 human beings, sons, daughters, mothers, fathers, all swallowed by a silence that has become louder than our collective conscience. It happened last weekend between Okuma and Bovime in the Kratchi West district of the Oti region here in Ghana. The boat, a small canoe ferrying passengers across the Volta Lake, capsized. 4 survived, 15 did not. 15. The bodies of little ones who should have been chasing each other on the red earth of their villages were instead pulled lifeless from the lake. Small hands that once clutched their mother's wrappers, now cold and still. And what has been this country's response? Silence. A line in the news, a passing headline, a fleeting conversation, no presidential statement, no national mourning, no outrage, no accountability. Just another tragedy tucked neatly under the list of it happens. But it shouldn't happen like this. Not again, because this is not the first time. And if we keep pretending, it will not be the last. In April 2022, 7 people drowned when a boat traveling from Germany to Havekope capsized on the Volta Lake. 13 others were rescued, but 7 never came home. Less than a year later, in March 2023, 5 more souls perished in the Adan River when their boat capsized between Azizanya and Azizakwe, again in the Greater Accra region. Then in May of 2023, 18 passengers lost their lives on the Lake Volta after their boat hit a submerged tree stump, what we all have come to know as a death trap that could have been avoided with a simple dredging or marked water routes. Then June 2024 came another big headline, another heartbreak. 11 people drowned when a service boat capsized on the Oti River near Dambai. 11 families destroyed in a single day. Then in August 2025, this year, mourners traveling by boat on the Volta Lake again were caught in a storm. 5 dead, another tragedy in the Volta Basin. Gone as quickly as it came. And then now, October 2025, 15 dead, 11 of them children. Fellow Ghanaians, these are a catalogue of needless deaths, a pattern of preventable grief, a national failure repeating itself like clockwork cruelty. 61 deaths since January 2022, and those are the ones high profile enough to make the news. I would suspect there are many more such deaths that have gone unreported. The Volta Lake, the largest man-made lake in the world, is not just a water body, it is a highway of survival. Thousands rely on it every single day to reach schools, markets, farms, and hospitals. It is their road, their livelihood, their bridge to the rest of this country. But for years, the safety of these poor, forgotten Ghanaians has been treated as a footnote in our development agenda. Where are the life jackets? Where are the safety regulations? Where are the inspectors? Where is the Marine Police Division, the Ghana Maritime Authority, the Volta River Authority, all the alphabet soup of state institutions with responsibility and budgetary allocations for safety on our waterways? Every time tragedy strikes, officials crawl out of their offices to promise investigations. Then they crawl back, draw their salaries, and wait for the next boat to capsize. Fellow Ghanaians, how did we become so numb to death? If a bus carrying 15 people who were public officials or their children crashed on the Accra-Kumasi highway, were we going to treat it like a side note, like we treat this one? Would the president not have issued a statement? Would flags not be flying at half-mast? Would the media not dedicate wall-to-wall coverage? So why is it that when the poor drown, their deaths don't count as tragedy, only as inconvenience? Are their lives worth less because they are poor, because they were born in communities that can only be reached by water, because their names are not famous and their parents do not sit in parliament or in boardrooms? Fellow Ghanaians, in this country, we have learned to measure the value of life by privilege. We mourn differently depending on who dies. When the elite stumble, the state trembles. When the poor drown, this nation scrolls past. But these were our people, They sang our anthem. They paid taxes on every matchstick and bottle of water they bought. They voted. And they too believed in this republic. This same republic that has now betrayed them. The most painful part of these deaths is that they are not natural disasters. They are policy failures. We know the problems. Every accident report tells the same story. Overloaded boats, no life jackets, poor enforcement, unmarked routes, bad weather, no regulation, no rescue response. The same list over and over again. How can a nation surrounded by many institutions still be so empty of accountability? And then, after every tragedy, the same official line, the victims were not wearing life jackets. How do you wear what you don't have? How can you enforce a law when the very state fails to supply the very basics? The Ghana Maritime Authority has on multiple occasions promised to intensify education and enforcement, yet no one gets prosecuted, no one resigns, no one loses their job. The death comes, life goes on, except for the dead. And if you truly cared, every boat on our lakes will be registered, inspected, and fitted with life jackets. Those are basic. Every water route would have safety markers. Every district assembly along the Volta Basin would have a rescue team. And every person operating without a license of a boat will be prosecuted. But no, we wait until the bodies float, then we react. Fellow Ghanaians, we must say this as it is. This is not fate. This is failure, systematic, predictable, avoidable failure. 15 people drowned last weekend, and this country moved on as if nothing happened. No minister has spoken, not a single high-ranking government official has visited the grieving families. This morning, we understand the vice president may be going there. No national day of mourning, no urgent statement to Parliament. Well, again, perhaps because Parliament is on break. It's just silence, loud, deafening silence. Do lives mean anything here? Does a poor child's death carry any weight? What kind of nation are we building when the lives of its weakest are treated as expendable? When we ignore tragedies like this, we are not just indifferent, we are complicit. Every official who looks away, every institution that failed to act, every citizen who shrugged and moved on, all of us complicit, because silence is approval. And so to those 11 little ones whose bodies were pulled from the lake, we failed you. Your country failed you. You didn't wish to be poor. You didn't choose where you were born. You did not choose to cross a lake on a leaking canoe instead of driving in an SUV to school or to a funeral. You were born into a country that promised you equality, then gave you neglect. Your parents watched you drown because the state couldn't be bothered to make your journey safe. You died gasping for air, choking on water in a lake that should have been your road home. It is not easy to drown. You know, the human instinct fights to the very end. Your lungs, they get filled with water. Your body convulses. Your arms flail in panic. You try to shout, but only water enters your mouth. Then you try to swim, but then the waves or the currents just drag you down. For the children, the struggle must have been more shorter, more painful. For a 2-year-old, tiny hands, thrashing against a force they couldn't understand. 15 lives gone in a minute. Dreams erased, a generation cut short, and still, this country sleeps. How many more must die before we learn? How many more boats must capsize before someone in authority realizes that marine safety is not just slogan? You can spend millions attempting to build cathedrals, and then airports, and interchange after interchange. But if we cannot buy life jacket for our people, those who use roads, we can host climate conferences on climate resilience and disaster preparedness. But we cannot rescue children from drowning. We can fund political rallies with millions of cedis. We just cannot light a candle for our dead. Our priorities are broken, fellow Ghanaians. If we cared, the government would treat this as a national emergency. It will mobilize the Ghana Maritime Authority, NADMO, the police, Navy, the Ministry of Transport, the Volta River Authority to overhaul water transport safety. It will launch a national water safety program, register every boat, inspect every vessel, mandate life jackets for every passenger, train local captains, and establish rescue centers along the lake. Because this will happen again unless we act. It will happen when another overloaded canoe sets sail in bad weather, It will happen when another child boards some of these boats without a life jacket. It will happen when another family must cross a river because their road remains unbuilt. The question is not if, but when. And when it happens again, are we going to still be silent? Will we still call it fate? Fellow Ghanaians, we cannot continue like this. We cannot keep burying our children, our brothers and sisters, and pretending like it's normal. The Volta Lake should not be a graveyard for the poor. It should be a symbol of life, of livelihood, of progress. But that can only happen when the state begins to treat every Ghanaian life as sacred, not as expendable. To the 15 souls we lost, may your memory haunt every one of us into action. And to the 11 children in particular, rest easy, little ones. Your country failed you, but may your deaths awaken its conscience so that we can all do better. For those of us still alive. Good morning, fellow Ghanaians.